Welcome. Welcome. I can't hear me, but I'm going to assume that you are hearing me. And here I go. We're going to start with a meditation for peace. And before we get into the meditation for peace, let me just tell a little bit about myself. I have studied sound and music for about 25 years by reading antiquity. In ancient times, with ancient societies, they used sound as an energy, as a tool, as a resource. And they used it to physically cure their bodies, to have more intelligent thoughts, to enable themselves to meditate better, to grow their crops better, to use as defense in warfare, to rehabilitate criminals. Sound is energy and was used as energy. And this valuable resource has been all forgotten. I believe it's been forgotten because we now need sound to communicate with. And we focus on that and have forgot the other influences that come from sound. So that's a little, just a little intro about me and my life and the gifts that I bring to you. It's the ancient uses of sound for your spirituality, for your well-being on all levels, to connect you to that which you call God. And I'd like to invite you to my site at jillswingsoflight.com. That's jillswingsoflight.com. And there's a half-hour free sound healing music with some samples that can uplift and bless you. Lots of videos and information. Okay, time for our prayer for peace. And a prayer, thinking when you think it, it's a thought. Or think of a brain wave. Think of a little tiny frequency of a brain wave. Yet when you feel passion and heart and are very sincere about your prayer, that little tiny brain wave that you're thinking, then your prayer becomes much more powerful, because you have a strong wave combining with a shorter wave, making it much more powerful. If you speak your prayers aloud, you add even more power. Think of a prayer as science, as sending a wave, a radio signal, a source of information and energy out. So this prayer for peace is going to be one that we will strengthen with our voice, and that I'm asking you to feel in your heart as well. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just imagine, think, pretend we could, any image we creatively think of. We're going to think of all the people in the world. We're going to think of the earth, of her soil. We're going to think of the streams and the trees. We're going to think of the animals. Think of all the little birds and the dogs and the cats and all of the wild animals, many facing extinction and cruelty from the human race. Embrace everything that is in this earth. Think of it, own it, feel it. Have the deep tones of the earth within you. Think of the animals, of the children, of the people, the women, of the men. Think of the people who have failed, who have made mistakes, who are in sorrow and pain. And we're going to think and we're going to feel them. And for me, I'm feeling like this big mess of tied up, balled up energy that's not harmonious. And I'm going to, in sync with it and feel it, kind of own that right now, as I ask you to do as well. And now I'm going to give it a sound like and I'm going to identify with the negativity. And then I'm going to change it. I'm going to slowly, in my mind, I'm going to think of the most beautiful time in my life. I love being at the beach. I love loving animals. I love loving. I love giving. I'm thinking of all these beautiful memories and feelings. And I'm going to superimpose them on all the world and all of its kingdoms. So now I'm again going to keep giving a sound, a tone, a vibration, and it's going to be merging with that energy of the earth, and it's going to be becoming sweeter. Now all of us feel the most beautiful thoughts we can feel, the love, the kindness, the relief, the blessing, protection and safety. All these wonderful things, and feel them in the earth. Feel the love and the kindness and the safety and the purity in the soil, in the plant kingdom, the crystal kingdom, the diva kingdom, into the animals and the birds, the people. All of us in harmony and song. So feel it, think it, and with your voice, bless it, as we did with the tone. So thank you for joining in our prayer for peace, our sound prayer for peace. Today, I'm going to start talking on sound, which I will always, but this time I'm going to talk about the sound involved in language. So anybody who's not a musician can't cop out and say, hey, I'm not a musician. This has nothing to do with being able to sing. It is simply examining what's within language. What's within the sounds that come out of our mouths? Now, I'm not talking about the meaning of our words. I'm talking about the energy of sound within language. First of all, let's examine. Language has a rhythm. The Italians talk it very fast, and so do the Mexicans. People in the southern USA have quite a long drawl. Yes, they can take forever to say a sentence. So, languages have rhythms. And not only do languages have rhythms, but they have an average pitch. For example, the pitch in the English language is lower than that of the French language. Yet the average amount of cycles per second in the, wait a minute, I've got to break because I think I've lost connection. So let me, if you're hearing me. Okay, I hope I didn't lose connection. Okay, sorry. So anyway, the sound and rhythms in different languages vary, which means that people have a constant energy source that differs per country. And voila, if we imagine that there are different language sounds, let's say of that of the Japanese with their sweet little sing-songs language, they also have very soft and gentle mannerisms. Contrast that to the Germans or the Russians, landlocked countries, which usually have languages which consonants ram into each other. It's a very harsh sound. that's going to have a different influence on those people than the languages of people near the sea. For example, the Hawaiians and the Tahitians have languages full of soft vowels. Their language actually sounds like lapping water. The different languages influence the culture and the people. In ancient times, they had a different idea of what science is. They would take little tiny sounds, like parcels or a phoneme or a part of a word, a vowel, a consonant, and then they would examine its tiny, subtle influence on your body. For example, if I say I feel it in my chest, I'm feeling it up here in my head. So they would then correlate the sounds with your body and correlate the sounds and their influence in nature. One way they did this, the Egyptians did this, as well as the ancient Chinese. They would put sand on a drum, and then they would say sounds and syllables underneath the drum. How boring for hours. But the sand would shake and vibrate from the energy of the voice, and a certain sound always created a certain shape. Like in the Hindu language, they have that little symbol for the word Om. If they get underneath the drum and say Om for an hour, and have sand lightly on top of that drum, within that hour, that symbol will be formed by the sand vibrated by the sounds, the syllables, the energy packets of Aum. So, ancient times, the sound and the energy of what it represented were one and the same. You can see this in the ancient Egyptian language, where Ben means to walk forward. But if you want to walk backwards, you would say it in reverse, for the energy and the energy of the word and the energy of walking would be considered to be the same. So Ben means, or is the energy of walking forward. Neb, Ben spelled backwards, is the energy of walking backwards. The ancient people believed that the ancient languages of light were the exact representation of the energy. So if the word plant would have the energy associated with a plant, like a direct connection. Think of like a beeper or a buzzer. You say the word plant, the plant, and you are now in harmony because you have the same energy. This is not so in today's languages, where now, not all, but a large portion of our languages are symbolic. This is certainly not the case, or certainly not believed to be the case, in ancient times. The ancient languages of light were Tibetan, ancient Chinese, ancient Egyptian, Sanskrit, and I think that's, let me see, yeah, I think that's it. And these languages were each believed to be influenced by a different star system. Whether that's true or not, it certainly was an ancient belief. They were also believed to bring a certain consciousness, a certain understanding, knowledge, growth path within the users. So think of the Egyptians learning about knowledge. Think of the Greeks learning about beauty, while the Romans learned of power. Think of the ancient Chinese learning of balance. The ancient people believed that the language that vibrated the people was a very strong contribution to the people living this energy and learning to master it. So, who really cares about this anyway? What does this have to do with peace and with our relationship with that which we call God? Ancient people believed that their prayers were direct links to God's, and that when recited in the original language, like going to a Catholic church and listening to the prayer in Latin, you may not understand any words, but somehow it feels so holy, because Latin was an ancient language of light, and the actual message is the energy and is the blessing. Forget the meaning. Think of it as an energy treatment, like going and getting acupuncture or something, an energy treatment. Listening to the ancient languages of light that have uplifting and blessings in their messages. So it is not just some old school people that like to go and listen to a mass in Catholic, but you'll find throughout the world a good number of the religions will say their services in their ancient languages to receive blessings. In the Bible, they do talk about this phenomenon, although I do believe it has not been understood currently and therefore has been somewhat censored. It's called speaking in tongues. Speaking in tongues is a way of allowing great beings and great blessings to flow through certain people that have this gift, and the actual sound, the speaking in tongues, is a sound in which you don't understand what the words mean. And many people can speak in tongues, and very few can interpret them. And the reason for this is that we get a better blessing by listening to these sounds and not having any idea what they mean. For when we try to put a meaning to the expansiveness, the blessing, and the beauty, and the energy, we dumb it down. We make it smaller. We make it less, because we're trying to peg it with just a couple words, and words are like a skeleton of the energy. And when you speak in tongues, different influences, energetic beings, can come through an individual, and then they can come from different sources. So you'll find the language is very much different, but each one having a different blessing. This is another way of thinking of God. Ancient people thought of God as having many attributes. God is loving, kind, merciful, forgiving, and each one of these attributes they would almost attribute like to a different God or a different attribute of God. It depended per religion. And so each one of these languages of light, these speaking in tongues, would give you a different blessing, a different language of light. I speak in tongues, and I would like to spend a couple minutes, and I would like to share that with you. And again, it's a blessing that we don't know what it means, for we're to be open and to receive the full vibratory energy. The more we focus on it, the stronger we receive it, and the more blessings we receive. You see, we are a part of the miracle. And I'm going to have 2 or 3 different languages come through me. And I want you to pay attention to your feelings while you are listening. You will feel different with each almost speaker that comes through me, with each language that comes through me. I want you to think about what are your feelings. And at the end of this, I'll be silent for a little bit. I want you to put feelings and identify how each language felt and what kind of message, gift, or blessing you got. Okay, here we go. Ililia no no monga kikika kalulu ni no yang ni nya Kilia to ta ka ka ni na Ililu ni kikika kalulu Ililu pada ka ka ki Ililu Ililu Ililu. Hoff hililium maninina uya taroma nga ilyang o niniya I ka koya nya na uya ilyam mama iya I o ya inya. Okay, now I'd like you to reflect on how you felt. In the first one, I felt like a deepening, a grounding. I felt an energy that was connecting me to the earth, so that instead of being disconnected in my own little world, worrying about my cell phone or TV or what I'm wearing or something like that, I was more connected with the deepness of the earth. That was just my take on that. I also felt like some of the negativity within me was being cleared. And sometimes when you have deep, harsh tones, they kind of vibrate the deep, harsh tones that we've had when we have buried hurt feelings and pain. And I felt like some of that was kind of vibrated and shaken loose. So you reflect how you felt. And the point being, again, that we're getting energies, message, information, and blessing from the sounds and the intent of the being speaking. In the second one, it was a big contrast. It was so light, almost fairy-like. It was beautiful. It was maybe like that of a bird, a diva. It was, to me, like just like giving us little droplets of joy, little crystals of higher energy, of spontaneity and liveliness. It was delightful. And you think how you felt on the second one. The third one I felt was a very wise being. I felt the third one was giving me wisdom and helping me to download and to realize more strength within myself. So those are my takes. And of course you think about what your take was. To develop being able to speak in languages of light or speaking in tongues, a good way to do it is perhaps just start babbling when you're in the car and you're pretty sure nobody's listening and you feel safe to make crazy sounds. Singing in the shower is another way. Just kind of just start talking, and you can talk with blah 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 and see what comes out. It's a good way to start to disconnect your consciousness, thought, and mind, and to allow the flow of energy of the universe to come through you, and then with your intent to receive beneficial energy. See what happens. It's a gift that is not, I don't believe, is that hard to develop. And so I'd like you to try. Okay. I'm just going to switch from that very experiential thing back to science a little bit. There was a researcher, Daniel Levinston, and he has studied languages throughout the globe. And he has a thesis going that the different sounds, E, A, O, produce different consciousness, and they're kind of like a universal energy. There have been researchers in Russia, and I have troubles pronouncing their name, but anyway, they have linked DNA to language sounds, and they're finding that in the junk portion of our DNA, that it is organized just like syntax and grammar. And many believe that this is why affirmations work, because when you say things with proper sentences and grammar, it is the way that your junk DNA is structured, and the saying of affirmations or the saying of a rosary or a mantra produces this energy, and the more you say it, think of it, each time you're getting a drop of desired energy, and then you begin to build that energy within. For example, in the Hindu tradition, they'll say a mantra about an attribute of God. So let's say they're saying a mantra, which is some words in the ancient Sanskrit language of light, in which they will connect with the energy, let's say, of compassion. Then they say the mantra 5,000 times. Can you imagine that? But think of yourself as a big bucket, and each time you say this mantra, you take in a body of compassion. Then if in your life you act uncompassionate, you take a drop of that energy out. The idea is to keep saying the sound, which is an energy, which changes you because waves interact. And so each time you say the sound of compassion, and it's stronger if you feel it, then you start to become that energy. And if you do enough repeats, you are so compassionate. And that was the ancient way of building virtues. The easiest and fastest way, they believed, was through sound. Another use of sound in languages in ancient religions was with names of God. And before I talked about God having different attributes, even in the Jewish religion, in which there was one God, God had many attributes, and he also had different names like Adonai or Lord or Yahweh, and so forth. And the different names, again, produce different energies. When ancient people analyzed names of God, they were particularly interested in the vowels. Earlier I talked about language, and I mentioned that it has a certain pitch. The Japanese speak in a little higher tone, whereas the Russians might have a lower pitch. So there's pitch, and we also talked about rhythm or speed. And there's another which we discussed, which was vowel sounds, and I correlated that to land that's near water, and ones with more consonants that are more landlocked languages. Within the vowel sounds, the energy is different. And there was a scientist in the 50s named Clarence Darrell Miller. And he photographed vowels. And you can get his books and look at the pictures of an A versus an E. Remember, it's energy. And they looked kind of like carved banister spokes. But let me explain how scientifically the energy in vowels differs. They differ because they have different energy in harmonics. Now, what is a harmonic? I want you to think if you're on the top of a bridge and you drop a rock in the water, you see it has a hole as it sinks to the water, and then circle ripples goes out. Those ripples, if they were sound, would be harmonics. Here's another way to think of it. I'm going to stand still, and I'm going to have these circles built around me. One's 2 feet out, one's 4 feet out, one's 6 feet out, and so on. I have a bunch of these circles. and I'm going to somehow color my sound that comes from my voice. And just like my voice is a water pistol, as I shoot my sound out, I can send it out far, or I can muffle it and kind of keep it close to my mouth. But the sound goes either close, it's going to fall in different circles. And that's kind of what a harmonic is. A harmonic is an after vibration, a little ripple. And each after vibration is higher in pitch. And depending on how that sound is formed in your mouth will depend on which harmonic or which little circle ripple gets the energy. So like if you say the vowel sound E, it gets in a pretty high harmonic. E, and now I'm going to say the exact same pitch, but I'm going to say it a different vowel sound. A. They're the same pitch, but yet the A sounds lower. That's because the after vibration of the A sound fell closer to me in the lower harmonic levels, in the lower pitches. So a vowel sound is simply the displacement of the after vibrations into different pitches. And you'll find that in your body, that many of the body processes are simply harmonic cycles. There's a certain mathematics that goes in the harmonics of any sound. It's science. And if you look at the Krebs cycle of digestion in your body and assign cycles per second for each element, which can be done, and you can learn about that in my Secret Sounds Ultimate Healing book, but that can be done, and you'll see that it's one big harmonic cycle. So the body feeds on harmonic cycles, and if we're not digesting our food properly, we might need some of those sounds within a harmonic cycle, and that will give us greater health and harmony. That's why many, the Tibetans listen to the Tibetan monks, to the Tibetan bowls, because they're rich in harmonics. So, that's the difference of vowels. They each have a different harmonic pattern, and each one is unique, and each one blesses us differently. The ancient Egyptians had a secret prayer, chant perhaps, in which they would recite to help the pharaoh, the dead pharaoh, go to a higher plane in the afterlife. It was the sounds, the vowel sounds, that they correlated also with the 7 known planets at that time. So, to enable the spirit, the energy, the soul of the pharaoh to raise as high as possible after his death, the priest would stand around and recite vowel sounds. They also did it in a 3-4 time scheme. You notice in the Egyptian Kabbalah and the ancient, Jewish tradition, they talk about Yahweh. As in Josephus, the historian, he always says that Yahweh is the name of God, and that it's written as 4 consonants, YHVH is Yahweh, but it's all vowels, although it's written as consonants, because vowels were sacred. Vowels were tuning the body to the different attributes of God. Vowels were different healings within your body, helping you master energy, giving you full harmonics. And so I'm just going to do a little history here. The Greeks, the Celts, they all said that the highest name of God is I-A-O-O-U-A-A, I-A-O-A, which sounds a little bit like Yahweh of the Jewish tradition. And noted that Yahweh can also be E-A-U-A, all vowels. Yahweh. Helen Blavatsky or Helena Blavatsky, in Theosophy. She again said that the mystics from the East said that the most powerful sound, the most powerful way to raise your body, mind, soul, is to pronounce O-E-A-O-H-O-O. E-O-E-A-O. Again, sounding somewhat similar to Yahweh. So to sum up here, we have sounding of the vowels has been believed in ancient tradition to have many blessings in your health, in your spirituality, and in your thinking. The ancient people also believed that saying the names of God was a way of linking to Him, like a beeper system. So if I pass on and you say Jill, 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 thinking of me, I should get the signal. It's like that's my energy. The name of the God was the same as the energy of the God. So if you want to have a conversation with Jesus, one way to do it is to chant Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I channel, and often Jesus will channel through me, and He presents Himself with the name Sananda. Sananda, the heart. And if you notice in the New Testament, it's all about love one another. It's about the heart. It's about feeling from the heart. So I'm not surprised that I personally have been instructed to call Jesus Sananda. Again, a name that is synonymous with the opening of the heart. Okay, so let's sum up a little bit where we are. We talked about the energy in our language as sound, as an energy. We talked about how different languages have different sounds, rhythm, pitches, harmonics, and that these energies influence those populations a little bit differently because you constantly are exposed to this energy, making your body, mind, and thoughts vibrate in sync. That's science. Then we noticed that the ancient people believed that their prayers, not the words, not the meanings, the actual sounds, brought blessings. And we talked about speaking in tongues, in languages of light, same thing, where we're listening to sounds and we are blessed without the understanding of the meaning, so that we can focus on the sounds, which makes the impact stronger, so we are blessed to a greater degree. Then we talked about ancient traditions and how they're associating vowel sounds with very high energy treatment, with a spiritual prayer, with a blessing, with an upliftment. And this is worldwide in the earth. Next, we talked about the name of a god or an attribute of God as being a direct link to that energy. So, the name is not only a telephone line, but it's a way of us downloading that energy, becoming more of it. So, if I want to connect with Jesus, and if I want to be more of Jesus, for when He is in my presence, for when I speak with Him, for when He speaks to me, our energies combine. That's science. And the more they combine, the more of Him I ingest, the more I become uplifted by His energy. And a good way to do that would be to chant Jesus or Sananda, if you prefer. In the ancient times, they believed that there were many evolved beings that could bless us, pretty much like the saints in the Catholic tradition. And their names, particularly the vowel sounds, would connect you with these beings. And I just thought I would say a few of them and just see how they felt. I'm just going to say them, and we're going to feel into the sounds. This is from the religions around the world and in different traditions. Let's see what you feel. And I will be doing these in ancient languages of light. I'm going to do an Egyptian god. Amen Ptah. Amen Ptah. Amen Ptah. Now, how did that feel? To me, it felt very powerful, strong, rooted. And in ancient times, strength and power was important, because if you didn't have strength and power, you were probably going to be a slave or killed. Okay. Now we're going to go to Tibet. Foba, 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 Foba. How does that feel? It feels lighter to me. It feels more feminine. It feels more forgiving, more light. It's a beautiful energy. Okay, let's try another one. Here's one from ancient China. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin. How did you feel when I said that? I felt soft. I felt loved. I felt nurtured. I felt feminine. And I felt like I could forgive people. I felt like a little child. I felt innocence. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, from the ancient Hebrew tradition. Gabriel, 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 Gabriel. Okay, how did you feel? This was a beautiful mix to me. It was almost like a dance. It was strong, yet it was light. It was soft and gentle, but it was certainly not weak. It's just beautiful. It's hard to put it into words. Okay, let's try one from the ancient Hindu tradition, from Sanskrit. Buddha. 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 This one was deeper, and I felt it almost could touch upon my sorrows and help me deal with them. I felt in this sound, I felt feelings like perhaps I could deal with my sorrow and my pain. I felt a strength, but also a learning of dealing with duality and the suffering in duality. That's just what I felt. Itag Hertag in Keys of Enoch wrote that these different languages, the Egyptian, Tibetan, Chinese, Hebrew, and Sanskrit, create different vibratory grids in people, and that they enable people to learn different lessons, different states of consciousness to master them, to continually evolve and expand, uplift, and bless their souls. In the world of duality, each one of these energies would also come with challenges. I guess that's a blessing in disguise. Haha. LOL. And these sound matrices from these languages would enable us to ascend and reach enlightenment, to further bless and our energy. So, we talked about the languages in this way, and I wish you to go forth and think about your speaking sounds. Think about in your prayers of saying the names of gods. Think about combining the energy of your emotions, your thoughts, and your prayers to make your prayer intent more powerful. I also thought that we could end up with channeling of Jesus. I do channel, and I will give everyone a little bit of caution. All people that channel, again, by saying the name or thinking of the being, they connect and they will come to you and speak through you. It's kind of like you're a car and they get in you and drive. And each one of us humans is a car, and we're not a perfect car. You know, a Dodge maybe has this good qualities, and you know, a Buick has something different. I don't know my cars too well. Anyway, so whenever someone channels, the being that comes through is somewhat filtered through the body that they're speaking through. So I always ask people to search their heart and listen with an open heart, but only take that which they believe really truly speaks to them and makes a difference to them in their life. And I'm going to also, before we channel Jesus, I want you to think of one other thing. The role of Jesus' voice in his miracles. Remember, Jesus spoke, and he was on the boat with Peter, and the waters calmed. So he spoke, and then he calmed the seas. They spoke prayers and blessings over the fish and the bread before they fed the multitude. Before the miracle of the food expanding to feed all in need, what happened? The voice. When Jesus says, "Be well," I would like you to consider that the energy from his conscious in combination with his voice was part of the miracle. So on my shows, for a couple of them in the future, we're going to continue to talk about the voice, and using this as a tool to not only connect to great beings and to become more of them and to become more like them by just simply resonance and entrainment, scientific laws of waves and wave interactions, but also we're going to learn in the future how to use our voice to be miraculous. So, here we go. Here is Jesus, or Sananda. Blessings, my children. I greet you from within my heart, and if you choose, you may place me within your heart. And that is not symbolic, but that is literal. Simply imagine and feel love, and there I am. And of course, I am is the name of God, and when you say I am, you ingest the energy of God. I have come to call you, my children, my friends. For those of you listening to this broadcast, many of you have been my friends, and I have used the Dove for Peace radio show as a mechanism to collect you, to claim you, to gather you, so that we might have a voice and a tool to uplift and bless our worlds. These lessons in sound and sound energy are yet a tool to empower your work. We need the power and the strength of love all over right now. We need to take responsibility and stand up, for ye are gods. and to spread your love, to spread your harmony and your blessings, to make it strong, to make it powerful. For love shall conquer all. The feeling of love is a sound in its own right, perhaps not within the scientific boundaries of the broadband of sound, but whenever you feel love, there is octave resonance and energy transfers into sound. Therefore, when you speak, speak with love. You could even practice the alphabet saying A, and you can put all kinds of emotions into your voice. Let's try it. A. A. Can you not see the difference in the energy of the heart that is welded to the energy of your voice? I would ask that you practice in speaking with love, whether it's asking someone to take out the trash, or something that has no symbolism with love. For all people are affected by love. All people are changed by love, however minutely. You be a blessing when you speak and when you are in the presence of others, for what you feel, even without speaking, becomes a strong vibration, a strong song that others sing, that others love, that others harmonize with. For when you come to another with love, you open their heart and communication begins. For many people have closed their hearts and do not judge, for they have been hurt so many times that their hearts have initially closed in protection to shield themselves from the pain. They must be wooed with love to begin to lower their defenses. And we don't have time to slowly work on this and that. It can be done quickly with love. Love in your voice, regardless of what you are saying. Love is a feeling. A feeling is 60 times stronger than that of the energy within a brain wave. When you feel love, you become powerful. You amplify your own energy as a being. Your signal becomes stronger and more powerful, influencing and healing others at a stronger, quicker, and faster pace. So, I ask you to practice every day to get in the habit of speaking with love. For as much as people are just beginning to discover the power within meditation of simply stilling their mind so they can have control of it, we in these lessons will be learning to practice and get in the habit of using the energy, the wave of our voice, which is far stronger of a wave than that of a brain wave, that can give more power and intense miracles with this wave within. Another way to increase your power and your love and your sharing of the Christ energy is to have all harmonies within. That would be harmonies that are within your subconscious that you're not aware of. And I will speak through this channel and we will address that in another session. But at this time, we shall address thinking in harmony with how you feel, in harmony with your spoken word. When all three are aligned, it's like you take the elevator up. You feel full of light. So the harmony of all the waves within is a great blessing. That is all that I wish to share for now. I wish to let you know that I am with you. And as you feel love in your voice, please, if you choose, imagine me in your heart. This big, literally in your heart. And I will amplify your feeling of love. We are connected, my brethren, my friends. And we all are at one on one level. Think of us as little fingers, and we perceive us as fingers. But as we evolve, we'll see that we belong to the same hand and the same body. With this, I shall grant you my blessings. I don't know if we're done or not. I can't tell. So I will just wrap up with, this is Jill. Please take a look at my gifts at jillswingsoflight.com. And again, I don't know if I'm on air, so we're learning about the power of our voice. And on my next show, I'm going to talk about how to use your voice to change the vibration in the energy of the person you are speaking with. So please feel free to go jillswingsoflight.com, and I send you my blessings, and we're going to end as we began with a prayer. And this time you understand a little bit deeper how that when we give a voice to a pain and make that voice sweet, how we can pull that pain and suffering away and raise it into harmony and light. So once again, I ask you to feel the world, the people, the children, the animals, the earth, the trees, the birds, the air. Feel it. Pretend you are it. Feel the deep tones of the earth, the soft water, the beautiful animals, the people, the children, the men and the women. Feel their pain, awful pain, and give it a sound. And now make it sweeter. Feel the most beautiful love, safety, and protection. Give it a sound. Feel the love. And the actual sound that we made in our voice amplifies our prayer. Not a little, a lot. So, I see this little blue box that says thank you for shows, so I don't know if I'm done yet. Let's take our tone and imagine that we're in heaven. Tone gets higher and more beautiful. And with it comes the suffering of the earth, raising, 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 higher and higher, with the high pitch in our own voice, whatever tone that might be. Now imagine the tone goes out in the galaxy, and it's in the center of the galaxy, the beautiful, beautiful blessing. And we can't even hear the lone pain. You can't even feel the pain anymore, for we have raised it. We have made a difference. And we've done it with our own voice. Okay, I do think we're done now. So blessings.